Alright, bro, so forget about eating a lot of protein for now. Do you know how hypertrophy actually takes place in your body? If you don't know what hypertrophy means, it's literally another word for muscle growth. So you might be thinking, yeah, so if we lift weights, we get like micro tears in our muscle fibers, and that's how muscles grow, right? Well, you'll be half right in saying that, but what you missed is the nerve to muscle connection is what actually makes hypertrophy possible. Without the nerve to muscle connection, there will be no movement at all. So that's a little deeper than just saying, oh yeah, I lift weights and it creates microtestimal muscle fibers, and that's how muscles grow. It literally doesn't start with the muscle itself. It starts with the nerves and the neurons that's connected to it from the central nervous system. Bro, your muscles are like a slave to the central nervous system. Without the central nervous system, your muscles will be nothing. If you have a screwed up nervous system, bro, do you think that you'd be able to lift weights? Fuck no, bro. Your muscles are just a slab of meat without the central nervous system. You see people with like spinal cord injuries and things like that, that literally can't function because their central nervous system is connected to the spinal cord, right? That's like for every one of us, that's like a literal fact. So if your spinal cord is like fucked in some way or like screwed up in some way, say like something fell on you or something like that, and you break your spinal cord in half, one, you can't walk. That's the first thing, and the second thing that is that you wouldn't be able to perform like normal activities, because literally like your movement is based on your central nervous system. So basically, you can thank your neurons for your ability to flex and extend your biceps and your triceps and your muscle groups in your body. So now let's get to the meat of this video. So what actually causes hypertrophy when you lift weights? So basically, what makes your muscles bigger, stronger, or better in some way, shape, or form? So there are three ways in which this can happen. It's literally from either stress, tension, or damage. You don't have to have literally all three in one instance. You can have one in one instance. But there needs to be something different in the way that the nerve communicates with the muscle. So the muscle contracts in a different way, and it literally makes it grow. So what you need to do if you want hypertrophy, which is literally muscle growth, you need to implement stress, tension, or damage in some sort of way so that you can induce that into the muscle so that you can grow. You need to do this by isolating your muscle groups. By the way, I've been doing this for 6 years, so I think I have a little bit of authority in the space to talk about it. And this is literally just what's worked for me. So if it works for you guys as well, that's all good. But the thing is that we're not different from each other that much, and the chances of this working for you as well is going to be very high. So you might have heard of isolated exercises and compound exercises. What you need to do is more of isolated exercises and less of compound exercises. So why am I telling you this? It's because when you do compound exercises, the load gets spread across like multiple muscle groups instead of just one, and it literally won't build as much muscle as isolated exercises. If you do isolated exercises, you literally have a concentrated part of your body that you're targeting. Because if you isolated the muscle groups, you would have much more control in what you're contracting. Because if you target like let's say your bicep, like you can do like a bicep curl and it'll target like one head of your bicep. That's how like specifically targeted it gets. Whereas if you do like literally like compound movements, if you do a bench press, like yes, it's only primarily working your chest, but it literally takes other like muscle groups into consideration as well, and it's not just your chest itself. And if you take like something like a deadlift as well, it's the same. Your back is in motion and your legs are in motion as well. So like it literally incorporates like multiple muscle groups, whereas isolated movements literally just targets like one muscle group and like one specific head of the muscle group as well. This means that the more stress you put on it, the more the muscle will grow. Literally, like if you do compound movements, your muscles won't grow that much, as I said before. So compound exercises are great if your goal is to only get stronger. So it all depends on what your personal goals are. So my personal goal is literally to get bigger and like to have more aesthetics than strength. You see like some like skinny people that like power lifters that are skinny and they can lift like heavy weight. They can move so much weight, but they're actually like really skinny and like they don't look aesthetic and things like that. And then you get the extreme as well, where like people are like really overweight and like they're not aesthetic either. Like they can lift heavy as weight. Like if you take like the world's strongest man and things like that, Like those guys are like really like they're really like fat, to be honest, to put it bluntly. But they can move like heavy weight, like literally so much weight, but they don't look aesthetic. They might have the muscle underneath them as in like underneath their fat, but they're not aesthetic in the given moment. And it's because these powerlifters train for strength, obviously. So they go for like a rep range between 3 to 6, and they take like 5 minutes break in between sets as well. But if you take hypertrophy, it's literally the opposite of that. So it's literally starting from like 6 to 30 reps is like hypertrophy range. So it all depends on your goal at the end of the day. You clicked on this video because you wanted aesthetics and you wanted to get bigger, so your primary goal should be hypertrophy. Like if you take me, bro, like I'm not that strong, to be honest. Like I have like a good amount of muscle on my frame, but I'm not that strong. There are other powerlifters who are like way skinnier than me that can lift like twice the amount of weight as me. But in terms of me, like I'm like literally like twice the size of them. So to summarize, bro, just stick to isolated movements and stick to a rep range of 6 to 30 reps. And if you're training bigger muscle groups like your legs, chest, and your back, literally stick to a rep range of 6 to 12. That's what I've seen works best for me and other people that I've seen. But if you're training like smaller muscle groups like your biceps, your triceps, your shoulders, and your abs and things like that, stick to a rep range of like I'd say 12 to 30. That's what I've seen works best for me and other people. So you might be wondering why this is. It's because smaller muscle groups adapt well to or respond well to higher volume. So if you take like your biceps or your triceps, if you do higher volume, your muscle groups are gonna respond literally like so well to them. However, bigger muscle groups respond increase in weight as the progressive overload mechanism, and not an increase in volume. If you do volume, you're just not gonna like stress the muscle enough. Now, if you don't know what progressive overload is, it's when you literally progressively overload and stress the muscle to a certain point where it literally breaks down. So that's pretty much what's worked for me, but hopefully it works for you as well. I mean, if you're the same body type as me, it'll work because I'm a mesomorph. So I didn't get into like the body types and things like that in this video, but hopefully I'll cover that in another video, the body types. But yeah, if you're the same body type as me, if you're like 5'6", 5'7", and if you're like lean, athletic, like you're prone to get like overweight, but you can get skinny as well. But yeah, I didn't cover nutrition in this video, so let me know if you guys want to see that as well. And I hope you learned something from this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.